Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dudes of all teenages, my name is Christian, and welcome to my first ever settlement tour. If this is your first time with us, this video is the culmination of approximately 50 hours of live-streamed content, all of which is available in a playlist linked below. Now, I've been a fan of the Fallout franchise for about a decade now, having played every game in the franchise I could possibly get my hands on, and, as the saying goes,
I don't know half of you half as well as I should like, and I like less than half of you half as well as you deserve.
Even still, I always admired the ambition and implementation of the settlement build system. For myself, few game mechanics are more enticing than the opportunity to create my own piece of the story. A chance to carve out a section all my own within the game's vast landscape. With Fallout 4, we have dozens of such opportunities, and I plan on taking them all, slowly but surely. Today we visit the first great settlement in the series, Fort Independence, known to the people of the Commonwealth as the Castle. With a history stretching back into the 1600s, the granite structure of Fort Independence is the fourth fort built on Castle Island and the fourth name it has gone by, with its earliest and latest in the Fallout timeline both being known as the Castle. Situated along Boston Harbor in between Spectacle Island and Boston International Airport, the castle serves as the headquarters of the Minutemen and the center of military power in the Commonwealth. Along its historic pentagonal star fort construction, each of the 5 bastions boasts a devastatingly powerful mortar cannon accompanied by a battery of plasma turrets and floodlights along the battlements. On a clear spring day, one can see as far north as the Libertalia and as far south as the ruins of Quincy atop the wall, providing visibility surpassed only by the Brotherhood's great airship, the Prydwen. Now with all that out of the way, let's begin our tour. One of the first infrastructural investments made by the Minutemen following the destruction of the Institute, Veteran Village, was built in honor of those brave men and women who fought for those values held most dear by all Minutemen throughout time: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Each individual home hosts families dedicated to rearing the first generation of citizens in a brave new Commonwealth. With the sole survivor's guidance, Veteran Village fosters a community dedicated to the ideals of the past while paving a way for a brighter, safer future. With the reformation of the Commonwealth returns one of its greatest forces of cultural change throughout history. Were there any organization in all of time to survive the Great War, there is no doubt it would be the Catholic Church. Dipping into Fallout lore momentarily, we already have confirmation that Catholicism, in one form or another, has survived far into the 23rd century. The Fallout 3's Point Lookout DLC and its quest The Dark Heart of Blackhall brings us a regretfully short-lived character named Marcella, raised in a reclusive monastic community at the Abbey of the Road, somewhere north of the Commonwealth. Though her time in Boston was short-lived, one of her converts by the name of Daniel would travel north towards the Abbey to receive his own training. Returning to the Commonwealth some years later, Father Daniel explored the Boston ruins in search of any and all copies of the scriptures and associated relics he could procure. In the months leading up to the destruction of the Institute, he joined the Minutemen helmed by the sole survivor as a chaplain seeking to provide sanctuary and salvation for the souls of his brothers in arms. In the months following the Minutemen's total victory, Father Daniel petitioned the new Commonwealth Provisional Government for the resources necessary to construct the first Commonwealth Chapel. Not only a beacon of faith, but a resting place dedicated to those who gave their lives to save the Commonwealth from its greatest threat. Today, Father Daniel resides in Veteran Village, hauling boatloads of fish in from the bay, filling the bellies of the community at the castle 6 days a week, and filling their souls on the 7th. Continuing forward, our next stop is the Visitor Checkpoint. Here, travelers from across the Commonwealth and Greater Wasteland must check in their various weaponry unless they can provide a proper license proving their exception. For a small 10-cap holding fee, all weapons will be returned along with a full refund upon exiting the castle. Should the weapons be left behind, they become the property of the NCPG and must be bought back if their original owner returns at a later date. One of the few exceptions to the checkpoint rule, caravans have become licensed transportation companies under the NCPG, and their guards each a member of the Minutemen Provisioner Corps. While today, none of the various traders across the Commonwealth have arrived at the castle, their Brahmin trains serve a vital link in the chain of resources at the heart of the NCPG. Continuing past Caravan Corner, we find the Logistics Center. Whether provisions, armaments, trade, or transport, the Logistics Center collects, logs, and divides every single item that crosses through the castle. By land, by sea, and by air, no matter the object's value, you can bet the Logistics Center has seen it. Thanks in large part to the diplomacy of the sole survivor and his allies in the East Coast chapter of the Brotherhood of Steel, the two major factions stand on equal footing, determined to provide for the safety and betterment of the Commonwealth. Following the sole survivor's ascension to both Elder of the Brotherhood and General of the Minutemen, the construction of a helipad and the creation of the Minutemen Air Corps provide the castle with direct access to vertibird transportation. During a research expedition, the combined efforts of the Minutemen and the Brotherhood's Scribe Division were able to recover scores of holotapes and hard copies of blueprints and building schematics from the old Hall of Records. Among these records were found detailed plans for a possible restoration of Kingsport Lighthouse. With plans in hand, the restoration of Kingsport and the founding of a new lighthouse on Castle Island began the NCPG's long path towards the restoration and rejuvenation of the Commonwealth. The castle's lighthouse consists of a solid concrete foundation, limestone structure, and a steel beacon housing. The structure contains 5 stories alongside its beacon. From the top down, you will find a light cafeteria, a comms station, a multi-purpose shift room, gear lockers and weapons bags, and overflow storage for the logistics center. One of the earliest resolutions of the NCPG was to ensure proper and continuous training of their Minutemen. Salvaging a detached trailer and scavenged Institute technology, the firing range at the castle was the first step in a continuous journey to turn this hardy militia into a regular military. While the Minutemen today send their recruits to Sunshine Tidings for boot camp, the firing range has remained in operation over these last 9 years. Surrounding the peninsula of the castle, these docks see daily usage. Transportation, travel, and fishing can all be witnessed along the banks of Castle Island at various points each day. With access to the verdant and plentiful harbor, the castle adds yet another resource to their advantageous position. From here, transportation along the whole coast as far north as the frontier territory of Far Harbor, down to the swamps of Quincy, can be arranged, with secure strongholds of Minutemen to ensure the order and safety of all involved. Now finally, allow us to enter the inner courtyard of the castle. Passing through the only gateway into the interior, we are soaked under decontamination arches to ensure no excess radiation threatens the security of this military stronghold. Beginning on our left, we find the post office, helmed by a senior member of the Minutemen Provisioner Corps. Here, packages large and small may be collected by the foot soldiers, officers, and residents of Veteran Village, should they not fit in their mailboxes. Directly linked to the Department of Logistics, a small tax of 2 caps is imposed on each piece of mail, with packages levying up to 10 caps each by weight. Affixed within the strong walls of the fortress, and aside from the post office, we find the armory manned by Ronnie Shaw. Preferable to a promotion and transfer to a desk job, Shaw remains Quartermaster of Arms and Armaments in order to keep an ear to the ground and an eye over the waters. With the establishment of the NCPG and the taming of the Commonwealth, the need arises for courthouses to both symbolize and perform the functions of law and order. Here within the castle lies the oldest courthouse of the NCPG, serving today as one of a series of regional courthouses. This courthouse includes twin deliberation rooms, a pair of judges' chambers with attached secretary offices, and a 2-story courtroom furnished in such a way to promote the private seriousness of justice. One of the luxuries of leadership, the officers' lounge, stationed in the interior courtyard, boasts a billiards table, television, and a private kitchenette stocked with preserved pre-war food and the first of the rations portioned for the garrisoned Minutemen. Outside of Colonel Garvey, Major Shaw, and the General, the sole survivors' various compatriots have also been awarded both honorary and actionable titles within the structure, with both Kate and McCready being captains in their own right. A multi-purpose stage has recently been erected, providing both public spectacle and official service depending on the needs of the day. Unless otherwise requisitioned, the stage holds the pillories for corporal punishment on base. Adjacent to the pillories lies one of a series of military police stations whose primary function is to ensure the continuity of law and order within the ranks of the various branches of the NCPG's military. Following the downfall of the Institute at the hands of the sole survivor, they approached the railroad with a proposition: equal legal rights and protections for any and all Gen 3 synths across the Commonwealth in exchange for absorbing the railroad into the NCPG's military. Today, the NCPG military police, under the watchful eye of Commissioner Deacon and previously under Commissioner Desdemona, acts as the order to the NCPG's law. Secondarily, they operate under the direct guidance of the NCPG as agents employed in subterfuge and the destabilization of antagonistic forces, including raider factions and mercenary organizations like the Gunners. Though fighting against such groups have proven to be equally cloak and dagger, it is only a matter of time before the aggressors are either absorbed, surrendered, or fall under the strength of this reborn Commonwealth. Most often utilized as coolers or drunk tanks in conjunction with pillories in doling out corporal punishment, these holding cells are also utilized in the transportation of suspects and convicts to and from the regional courthouse and the NCPG correctional facility. Across from the holding cells, the well-furnished, if sterile, workshop sits ready for any and all requirements that the castle could throw at them. Among these machines sits one of several suits of T-60 power armor offered as a generous gift from the Brotherhood to their new brothers-in-arms. One of the luxuries of this Commonwealth in restoration, the barbershop hosts a pair of stylists and offers grooming to both soldiers stationed at the fortress and the residents of Veteran Village. Positioned adjacent to the barbershop sits the Comms Center, the nucleus of information sent to and from the fortress. All visual and audio data is processed first here before being sent to the radio bunker or in between settlements across the Commonwealth. Across the hall from the barbershop sits the medical center, providing primary care, surgery, and prescriptions to the settlement community. Stationed here, as in any NCPG settlement, you will find all medical practitioners have received their training from 88 University, the vault installation built to house the vast academic knowledge of the old world. The operating theater of this medical center is purposefully placed closest to the war room, requiring whosoever the commanding officers may be to be witness and audience to the cost of the NCPG's vision for the future. The command center of Fort Independence, the war room is the strategic center of the fortress and the private chambers of the highest-ranking officer currently stationed at the fort. Most often, these chambers are the private quarters of Colonel Garvey, and provide a ranking officer with the privileges accompanying their station. With an abundance of preserved pre-war fineries, the war room includes a lounge, a pair of dressers, a queen-size bed, a fully stocked liquor cabinet, a fridge, a second fully armed, if ceremonial, T-60 power armor set, and several translations of the Holy Bible as recovered by Father Daniel. These copies, alongside several pieces of historic artwork from the Old World, have been placed here solely for preservation. Perpendicular to the medical center sits a converted rec room, providing bare-bones yet functional fitness facilities. After you've worked up an appetite in the rec room, or perhaps your guard shift has ended, the commissary boasts a full kitchen, restored appliances, and fully functional soda fountains. Always stocked with local game in the day's fresh catch, these Wastelanders are definitely eating better than me, and probably better than you too. Behind the courthouse lies the facilities, both restrooms and showers. With the engineering expertise of the Brotherhood, these facilities offer a level of sanitation and waste disposal not seen in the Commonwealth, with the exception of the vaults or the defunct Institute, for over 2 centuries. The concrete-reinforced radio bunker houses the iconic, if uninspired at times, Radio Freedom. Boasting a full complement of communications and audio engineering gear, this station is wired to receive and transmit real-time updates from across the Commonwealth. If the host ever took a break and slept for once, he'd find a private bunk all his own, conveniently placed directly above his workstation. Last, but by no means least, we can ascend the central staircase to the battlements, renovated and enclosed with wrought iron fencing, preventing even the greenest Minutemen from joining the next casualty reports. Each of these relocated to provide more room within the courtyard proper, we find a modest garden and a bunkhouse. Almost solely tended to by the newest transfers, or as a form of corporal punishment, these gardens provide the fort with the hardy, if temperamental, mute fruit. The accompanying bunkhouse offers bedding and storage for each Minuteman stationed at the castle. separated by status, the officers are provided individual, more spacious bedding on the second floor, while the first floor provides stacked cots for the foot soldiers. Fort Independence has been a part of American history for so long it remembers a time before the country existed and is likely to remain for many years to come. No matter the era, the people, or the nation, Fort Independence remains a symbol of the old world ideals and speaks to the spirit of every Minuteman, old and new. Under the command of the sole survivor, the castle has gone from a nest to a stronghold, and from a stronghold to a beacon. A shining example of the highest ideals of the NCPG, and a warning to all who would seek to terrorize the Commonwealth. At a minute's notice, these people will remain free from the many tyrannies, small and large, that the Wasteland has to offer. And finally, that brings our first ever settlement tour to a conclusion. Thank you all so much for watching. As I stated at the beginning, if you are interested in the build process of this settlement, or would like to watch any future installments of this build series, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and check out the playlist below for the entire build journey. With few exceptions, I stream 6 days a week, Monday to Saturday, over on Kick, linked in the description below, alongside a link to my main channel, for which I'm producing video essays and documentary-style content, and my third channel, which will eventually include more stream-of-consciousness-style content. Tomorrow, we will return to live settlement builds with the start of our next great project, restoring and re-establishing the town of Jamaica Plains. No, it's not a small plot of land. One of the settlement mods, which is also named in the description, expands the total build size to encompass nearly the entire town's borders, which should make for quite the interesting project. Other than that, there are a number of different ways you can support me monetarily, each linked in the description below. None of these are required, all of it is entirely voluntary. While supporting me directly provides the opportunity for me to make more content for you all, by no means would I want to beg you to part with your money. Simply engaging with the video as you already have is more than I could ask for, and I thank you. Now, to boil all of that down, thank you all so much for watching. It means the world to me. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I will see you all next time. Same bat time, same bat channel. Have a good one.